Good morning. Hermine's revenge, what's left of the tropical storm, delivers a 1-2 punch to the state of Texas, causing tornadoes in and around Dallas as well as severe flooding. And this morning, she's heading across the plains. Al's tracking the storm. Change of heart, despite some defiant words.
Our burning of the Quran is to call the attention that something's wrong. So something is wrong.
The pastor at the center of the controversy says a call from the White House might make him reconsider. But will the White House pick up the phone? And who dat? Fans of the world champion New Orleans Saints whipped up into a frenzy as we get set to kick off the NFL season live from the Big Easy today, Thursday, September 9th, 2010.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today. Today kicks off with Matt Lauer, live from Jackson Square in New Orleans, and Meredith Vieira, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And welcome to a special split edition of Today on this Thursday morning. I'm Meredith Vieira in New York. My buddies Matt Lauer and Al Roker are in Jackson Square in the great city of New Orleans. Matt, I'm already tapping my feet under the desk because it looks like the stage is set for a big bash.
Yeah, you're not the only one tapping your feet. The people down here are ready to explode. This place is going to rock tonight. You want to look down at Jackson Square, a beautiful and historic portion of this great city. We've been here before, but today this place has been turned into a huge tailgating party. That's going to happen later today. As you mentioned, I'm not here alone. My friend Al Roker is joining me as well. And Al, we've gotten here just in time for the first game of the NFL season and apparently the humidity festival here.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
But it's air conditioned in the Superdome, and good news for the Saints fans. Last 10 years, the Super Bowl champion has won their home opener.
Yeah, you like the sound of that, guys? Yeah. Good. They love that here. You know, they won the Super Bowl here, Meredith, 6 months ago. They won it 6 months ago. And while they celebrated like crazy, you get the feeling they've been waiting 6 months to prove it was no fluke. And they're going to get that chance tonight against the Vikings. This has been an amazing story. If you consider that 5 years ago, this city, and by the way, the Saints' home, the Superdome, were left in tatters by Hurricane Katrina. Then as everything was being rebuilt, the Saints were being rebuilt as well until culminating with the Super Bowl championship. A lot of credit goes to a guy named Drew Brees, who's the quarterback here. He is a hero in this city. Some people call him Breezes. You get the idea? We're going to sit down and talk to Drew Brees later. And also, a little interesting thing, we're going to find out why the NFL is becoming very female-friendly. So we got a lot coming up. Meredith, back to you.
All right, it looks like a lot of fun. We've been also this week taking a trip down memory lane, going back to our first jobs, me as a tap dance teacher and Matt as a paper boy. Well, today it is Anne's turn, giving her first job a shot as a babysitter, taking care of 5 kids and their friends. And all I have to say is that life in that household may never be the same. But first, Matt has more on that rough weather that is sweeping through the South. Matt.
All right, Meredith, really is rough weather. What's left of Tropical Storm Hermine is really making her presence felt in the state next to us here in Texas. Some twisters touched down in and around the city of Dallas. That's where the Weather Channel's Julie Martin is joining us from this morning. Julie, good morning to you. What's the latest?
Well, good morning, Matt. Hermine made for a very wild weather day here in Texas, from flash flooding to tornadoes. It really left its mark, and unfortunately, it is not finished just yet. I want to take you now to some images from the evening rush hour last night here in Dallas as twisters just started dropping out of the sky. As many as 6 funnels reported throughout the area, one of them slicing right through the heart of the city, hitting many buildings, bringing up water mains, and also knocking out power to thousands of people. One of the most impressive images, an 18-wheeler literally picked up, flipped 180 degrees with the driver inside and slammed into the very building I am standing in front of. That driver, by the way, is doing all right this morning. But before all of that widespread flash flooding throughout the state of Texas, some of the worst of it to my west in the city of Arlington, where an apartment complex was basically underwater. Over 50 high water rescues carried out yesterday, and fortunately everyone doing all right. However, farther downstate, at least 2 fatalities as people got trapped in their vehicles in the high waters. So we could see more of the same today as the system now moves in through Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. What is left of Hermine, Matt, certainly hanging on.
All right, Julie Martin, who's in Dallas for us this morning. Julie Martin from the Weather Channel, of course. Thank you very much. Al Roker back here in New Orleans. It never got to the point of being a hurricane, but boy, Hermine did a lot of damage.
It really did, and continues to. Let's take a look over the last 24 hours. Some areas picking up as much as 16 inches of rain. Georgetown, Texas getting almost that amount. Killeen, Texas, 11. We are talking about a lot of rain out of this system, and as you can see on the radar, is now moving through Oklahoma on into parts of Missouri and Arkansas. And we have flood threats out there. We have flood warnings for parts of eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and flood watches all the way up into Illinois. We look for rainfall amounts anywhere from about 2 to 5 inches of rain in that affected area over the next 24 hours. So Hermine continues to peter out, but still doing a lot of damage.
All right, Mr. Roker, thank you very much. We'll get your local forecast in just a couple of minutes. But right now, let's throw it back to Meredith in New York.
Matt, now, thank you very much. And now let's turn to the raging controversy over one Florida church's plan to burn the Koran on 9/11. The leader of that church is hinting this morning that he could be talked out of it. NBC's Kerry Sanders spoke to him. He is in Gainesville, Florida this morning with more. Kerry, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, Meredith. Pastor Jones told me that if he got a message from God, he might reconsider burning the Quran. And now in an interview with USA Today, he's gone one step further and said that if he got a direct call from the White House, from the State Department, from the Pentagon, he might also consider backing off. Pastor Terry Jones is the man at the center of an international controversy.
Our burning of the Quran is to call the attention that something's wrong. So something is wrong.
Despite pressure from the State Department,
make this outrageous and distressful, disgraceful plan.
And the U.S. military.
Concerned that the images from the burning of a Koran would be used in the same way that extremists used images from Abu Ghraib.
Even Sarah Palin is calling on Jones to call off this weekend's planned burning of the Quran, warning on her Facebook page, it will feed the fire of caustic rhetoric and appear as nothing more than mean-spirited religious intolerance. Pastor Jones says he believes he's been told by God to burn the Quran.
It is possibly time for us in a new way to actually stand up, confront terrorism.
Worldwide, in the Muslim world, protests are growing. All this triggered by a small church in Central Florida, the Dove World Outreach Center. The congregation numbers less than 50. Have you read the Quran? Have you studied it?
I have only read parts of the Quran.
Okay, tell me a part that you have read that offends you, that has you and your small congregation out here planning on burning that Islamic holy book.
We are burning the Quran as a demonstration.
Yeah, I know, but quote something that you read that offended you, that has you concerned.
Well, of course, the Quran does not recognize Jesus Christ as God, the Son of God, the risen Savior, the crucified Savior.
Here in Gainesville, Christians, Muslims, and Jews have gathered in prayer to try to counteract what they call a message of hate. Wednesday on CNN's Larry King Live, Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf, the imam leading the effort to build a controversial Islamic cultural center near Ground Zero, called on Jones to rethink his plans to burn the Quran.
Many Christians say, what would Jesus do? Jesus taught us to turn the other cheek. Jesus taught us to love your enemy. We are not your enemies.
For now, Pastor Jones says he's going forward with his plans to burn the Quran, unless God tells him not to. And you will have gotten your 15 minutes.
Well, it's actually not about me. I don't enjoy doing these things. These things are very stressful. They're very difficult. I'm not used to this type of attention. As you said, I'm a pastor of a small church. So actually, it's really not about me. It's about the message.
Well, there is now increased security in place out in this rural area. The police are jotting down the tag numbers of all the cars that come here, as well as taking the driver's license information from everybody who makes their way here. In addition to that, on Saturday, when this Quran burning event is planned, there's going to be about 90,000 people gathering a short distance away at the stadium as the University of South Florida takes on the University of Florida in a football game. So there's going to now be increased security there as well. Meredith.
Absolutely. Kerry Sanders, thank you very much. Let's get more on this now from Representative Peter King of New York, who has been a vocal opponent of the plan to build an Islamic community center and mosque near Ground Zero, and Ziad Ramadan, who is with the Council on American Islamic Relations. Gentlemen, good morning to you both.
Morning.
Let's start with this notion. You know, Pastor Jones has now said, who plans to burn the Quran on 9/11, on September 11th, on this Saturday, that if somebody were to call from the White House or the State Department or the Pentagon, it is something that would not be ignored. So do you believe that someone from the White House, maybe even the president himself, should call this man and encourage him not to burn the Quran? I'll start with you.
First of all, this is insane. It's dangerous. There's absolutely no place in American debate for what this madman is talking about. My only concern with someone like the president calling him is that you give him status, you give him stature. You know, we can have real issues to debate here this morning. It has nothing to do with the Quran, nothing to do with the New Testament, nothing to do with the Old Testament. We have political, diplomatic issues, and this is insanity that a person like this is tying up the country.
Do you think a call should be placed?
I think if General Petraeus was to say, look, we think that American lives would be at stake here, that you're going to flick on the switch for radicals and extremists to act, I'd rather save American lives. That would be my perspective. Even though he did say a couple of weeks ago that the person he respected was George Bush, and they asked him if George Bush called, would you stop? He said no. But I really hope that if he had a change of heart, that we would do something about that. And
what do you think is going to happen if he does go ahead with this?
Well, you know, you never know what triggers psychotics. And I'd hate to think that people are turned on, you know, just like that flick the switch analogy and someone becomes an extremist and they now go from rhetoric to action. And that would concern me in America and outside of America. You know, we don't want anybody else threatening American lives, and I think that's what's most important to us.
But since this whole controversy erupted, we have seen the American flag burned by Muslims around the world. We've heard people scream death to America. But no one, or I would say most people, do not believe that all Muslims hate the U.S. or wish it harm. So why is so much weight and legitimacy given to this pastor and his relatively small congregation? We're talking maybe 50 members.
I think it's a sign of the times. If a person speaks loudly enough and says something crazy enough, the media is going to cover it and people are going to respond. I think we all do ourselves a favor. We could somehow ignore him, because it adds not only adds nothing to the debate, it brings the debate down and it brings it to a level where no one wants to be at.
Should the media not cover it, which is what the Secretary of State has suggested?
I think so, personally. I think that you're giving him a forum, and I think that if people never listen to him, he might think that this is not something that's worth his while at the end of the day. You know, an organization called Right Wing Extreme said they initially planned to protect him while he does this. And they said that after a lot of praying and thinking, they just didn't realize how this would bring people closer to Jesus. So some people are saying, so they backed out last week, and maybe this is a little bit too right-wing and too extreme for them.
Let's talk about the controversy surrounding the construction of this Islamic Cultural Center near Ground Zero. Last night on CNN, the man behind that proposal, Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf, said that had he realized how much controversy this was going to cause, he never would have decided to build it there. But at this point, he has a responsibility. Listen to what he told CNN.
If we moved from that location, the story will be that the radicals have taken over the discourse.
I know, Congressman, that you're opposed to that mosque being put there, but is he right that he would just be fueling the radicals if he moved that cultural center at this point?
Well, my problem with what he's saying is he seems to be equating the 71% of Americans who oppose this as being radicals. He's talking about the radicals who are opposed to the mosque, which to me is 71% of the American people, and comparing that to Al-Qaeda or radical elements in the Muslim community. And that to me is it's a totally wrong equation. And it's just, to me, that is, he's almost just, to me, it's like a threat to the United States. What he's saying is that if this mosque is not approved, that the radical elements of the Muslim world are going to be against us. I don't think we have to prove ourselves to anyone. I mean, Muslims in this country, as well as Catholics and Jews and Protestants, are treated better here than anywhere else in the world. And I would say Muslims probably have more freedom in this country than any of their own countries.
Mr. Rana?
Yeah, the issue with the public sentiment is that when in issues related to bigotry, unfortunately, our history has shown that sometimes we're on the wrong side. For example, we interned Japanese during World War II. We segregated our military, our schools, and it took an executive order to undo that. And we also enslaved our fellow Americans. So, I mean, when it comes to bigotry, we've got to be careful about the public sentiment. What's really important is that our public officials and our congressmen have to come out and tell people this is not what America represents. These are not the ideals that our nation was founded on, and we have to be better than that.
Yeah, but where I disagree with her is what are we saying? What am I saying as a congressman that in any way violates American ideals? I have raised real questions about the Muslim leadership in this country. For instance, I don't think the Muslim leadership speaks out enough against terrorism. I can tell you that there are mosques in this country where imams tell their congregants not to cooperate with law enforcement. And if you talk to law enforcement people, they will tell you that very seldom do they get cooperation from the Muslim leadership.
But
and that to me is a real issue.
But the imam might say to you, as he said on CNN last night, this story broke last December, front page of the New York Times. Nobody complained about it then. It wasn't until about 2 months ago. He thinks that it's politicians who've grabbed onto it for political reasons. Even the mayor himself said, come November 3rd, this won't be an issue anymore.
It is the midterm elections, and people like Newt Gingrich who've equated Islam to, Nazism, and we need to condemn people like that and say these sentiments are absolutely wrong. And if you don't think that people are listening to Newt Gingrich or Sarah Palin or Rick Lazio, who hasn't talked about anything else, and he's running for the governorship of New York State, except for the mosque, he's basically driving all attention and driving the public sentiment against the development of a religious institution which is protected by our Constitution.
We have about 15 seconds.
Okay. No one says that there's not an absolute right to build a mosque, but because you have the right doesn't make it right. And I think it's a very legitimate issue to talk about this mosque to barely 500 feet from ground zero, to have a 13-story, $100 million edifice where 3,000 Americans were killed that day. It's wrong, and I think it's wrong to say that somehow it's un-American to raise that as an issue, because
no, I don't think that's. I think that
free speech is also an American principle.
But Timothy McVeigh blows up a federal building, and we don't say you can't build any churches around there.
This is, gentlemen, this is a discussion that's going to go on for quite a while.
Blame it on Christianity.
That's a totally unfair comparison. The fact is,
why is it unfair?
Because the Muslim leadership in this country does not cooperate with law enforcement.
Muslim leadership? Let me ask you about that. Because there's no Jewish leadership or Muslim leadership.
I'm talking about imams in mosques which are being investigated.
You can't just make a general.
This is why gentlemen, I'm going to have to cut it off there. I understand, but my point is
where it's from.
This is why this is such a controversy, because it is so heated on both sides, and it's not going to end today or tomorrow. I have to stop it there. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Thank you very much.
You're a peacemaker.
I'm a peacemaker, exactly. Now let's get the check of the rest of the morning's top stories from Ann Curry at the news desk. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning, Meredith. Good morning, everybody. And also the news this morning, the wildfire burning for a fourth day near Boulder, Colorado, has become one of the worst in state history. By last night, at least 130 homes had been destroyed, say officials, and it's still only 10% contained. Still, firefighters are making some progress now because of light rain and cooler temperatures. Officials in Detroit are now on the defense about how they responded to Tuesday's wind-driven fires that destroyed 85 homes. Some residents say that they waited 90 minutes for help, but Detroit's mayor says there is no way to plan for an event of such magnitude. This morning, a large explosion rocked a market in Russia's North Caucasus, killing as many as 15, though that is a preliminary number. A car bomb is expected, and in the area, mostly Orthodox Christians have been targeted with violence from a radical Islamic insurgency. Another suspected U.S. missile strike in Pakistan killed 5 alleged militants this morning. It is the 4th such attack in the last 24 hours. In a rare interview, Cuba's Fidel Castro was strikingly candid about his nation's economy. Castro reportedly told Atlantic magazine that Cuba's state-dominated economic system no longer works and is in need of change. And researchers at the University of Utah may be a step closer to helping severely paralyzed patients communicate. They say that they were able to decode brain signals for simple words such as hot, cold, and thirsty to determine what a patient was trying to say. And in England, a very different kind of research. Scientists there say that they have distilled the male dance moves that are most likely to catch a woman's eye. To illustrate, they used a professional dancer to bring the computer model to life. And just for the males in our audience, just to sort of tell you, the finding is that women pay more attention to the core body region, including the torso, and that it's not the speed of the movements, but also the variability of the movements. All right, it is now 7:19. Let's now go back to Matt. So in other words, not to dance like you, Matt.
No, exactly. Not like our tap dancing prowess of yesterday, Ann. No, not at all. But thank you for that. Let's get a check of the weather now. The local forecast from Al Roker, who's just across the way from me now at Cafe Du Monde. Al?
Does that dance move also include the overbite? All right, thanks a lot, Matt. Hey, you know, we've got another tropical storm to talk about. Tropical Storm Igor, or Igor, depending on how you pronounce it or you watch Young Frankenstein. 70 miles south of southernmost Cape Verde Islands, 70-mile-per-hour winds. It's just about stationary. You look at the track of this thing, and we'll be talking about this on into next week. It's right now predicted to become a hurricane sometime early next week. A minimal hurricane, but still a hurricane nonetheless. By Tuesday early morning, we're talking about a Category 2 with 100-mile-per-hour winds out in the Atlantic. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. And of course, it's Thursday. We're in New Orleans. We're kicking off the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's a big one. We've got the 2009 Super Bowl champion Saints versus Brett Favre and the Vikings. It's a dome stadium. Who cares about the weather? But if you're standing outside, scalping tickets, warm and humid, temperatures in the mid-80s on NFL Kickoff 2010 on NBC. Now back to Meredith.
What's your name?
Well, coming up, reality bites, why one judge calls Snooki from Jersey Shore a Lindsay Lohan wannabe. Oof, but first, this is Today on NBC.
S2, was that the violation?
Still to come from New Orleans, we're going to sit down and talk to Drew Brees about his love for this city and that touching moment at the end of last year's Super Bowl where he held his son in the air. Meredith?
Plus, first jobs revisited. This morning, it's Ann Curry, babysitter extraordinaire, after your local news.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it
7:30 now on a Thursday morning. It's the 9th day of September 2010. From what I understand, a little chilly actually up in the Big Apple this morning, but we've got a nice crowd of people gathered on Rockefeller Plaza, waving to the people back home. It is anything but chilly here in New Orleans. It's hot, it's humid. The Big Easy getting ready for a huge game tonight to kick off to the NFL season. That game between the Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints and the Minnesota Vikings. These two teams got together in the NFC Championship game last year, so this is going to be a great matchup. I'm Matt Lauer here in Jackson Square in New Orleans. Meredith's up in Studio 1A in New York City. Meredith, good morning again.
Yeah, hey, Matt, we have a nice crowd here, but you do as well.
Yeah, this is cool. I got the Sensations. These are the New Orleans Saints cheerleaders behind me here. They're going to be going crazy at the game tonight. They also, by the way, I want to mention, not just a lot of pretty faces. They do great work in the community here in the New Orleans area. If you have any idea how big a party this is going to be, they got a parade planned. They've also got a huge concert planned before the game. Taylor Swift and Dave Matthews will be performing at that concert. Take a look down at this beautiful area. And if you don't think this city is excited, we'll take a look at the front page of the Times-Picayune this morning. You've got Drew Brees, the MVP of the Super Bowl, saying that he wants to start a new tradition here. Right after the coin toss in the game, he wants all the people in the Superdome to chant 3 times what?
Who dat? Who dat? Who dat? They gonna beat them Saints. Who dat? Who dat? Who dat? They gonna beat them Saints.
All right, in case you can't understand, who dat says they're going to beat them Saints. That's going to be the new tradition here. And Meredith, I want to show you one other thing. Take a look at the sea of black and gold here, right? And then Callan, excuse me, ladies, 1 second. I also want to introduce you to the bravest man in New Orleans in his purple and gold. Gary, right? What's your last name? Gary Godot. Oh, come on.
Come on, guys.
Wait. Give him credit, all right? He's the only guy in a Vikings jersey here. Your family's from New Orleans.
Absolutely.
But you're here as a Minnesota Vikings fan.
I love Brett Favre. I think that he's a great player for the game. He's done everything that the NFL can offer. He's a player's player. And this beautiful city of New Orleans can accept that. He should be a microcosm of the entire country to accept what's going
you see
on.
Over your shoulder here? They're going to put him on his butt.
She's my girl.
Anyway, I admire your moxie, all right? I really do. We got to get some emergency services for this guy. Anyway, Meredith, an awful lot coming up here from New Orleans. Back to you.
All right, Matt, thanks very much. And from here, well, you know why Jersey Shore star Snooki found herself face-to-face with a judge on Wednesday. He warned her she might be turning into someone else. We're going to have that story as well. But we're going to begin with a very serious story out of Portland, Oregon. Today is Kyron Horman's 8th birthday, but the little boy with the big smile is still nowhere to be found more than 3 months after he disappeared. NBC's Miguel Almaguer is in Portland with the latest on this story. Miguel, good morning to you.
Meredith, good morning. There will be events to mark Kyron's birthday today and this weekend. As you mentioned, the little boy turns 8 today, but despite the best effort of investigators, there's been no sign of him since the day he disappeared.
For Kyron Horman's parents, this should have been a day of celebration. Instead, it's an especially painful time in an ongoing nightmare that's already lasted more than 3 months.
I can't sleep. Nights are restless. All days, on the days I'm thinking about still him coming home, his birthday, obviously, what we're going to do. I just can't stop thinking about him.
Kyron's classmates started 3rd grade this week at Skyline Elementary School with new video security systems in place to reassure anxious parents.
They should come to school and get back into their routine and feel comfortable with that.
Investigators say the case has not yet gone cold, but so far the most extensive search in state history has yielded few clues. No arrests have been made.
It's hard for us, but we understand the method. They have to make a solid case before they can, make any arrests or anything like that.
Kyron's parents believe his stepmother, Terry Horman, is directly involved in the boy's disappearance and says her friend, Dee Dee Spicer, also knows more than she has revealed.
Cooperate. Do what you need to do. Come forward.
Terry Horman's lawyer has described the speculation about her as a witch hunt. Through her attorney, Dee Dee Spicer denied any involvement.
As a mom with 2 young boys, you feel for that family.
Firefighters and volunteers took down Kyron's wall of hope and moved it off campus. But this community hasn't forgotten and continues to hope for his safe return.
I have an 8-year-old boy, and it hurts.
Although the criminal investigation has not led to an arrest, an ongoing grand jury investigation could potentially lead to an indictment, say legal experts. But again, Meredith, there have been no suspects named in Kyron's disappearance.
Miguel Almaguer, thank you very much. John Walsh, whose own son Adam was kidnapped and murdered, is host of America's Most Wanted. His show's 24th season premieres this weekend. Good morning to you, John. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you, Meredith.
I'm going to get to that in a minute, but first I want to talk about Kyron Horman. As a parent, my heart breaks for his parents to be spending his 8th birthday, first days of school, not knowing where he is. How do you cope in a situation like that?
Well, I think you never give up hope. You look at the success stories like Elizabeth Smart, who was gone for 8 months, and J.C. Dugard, who was gone for 18 years. So you always
you hope your child is one of those.
Absolutely. One of the few, but one of the ones who come back alive. And police speculate that possibly Kyron may be alive. I hope he is, but the main focus is to stay strong and to try to keep your child's name in the media, just as this father is doing by having these birthday parties and saying, I'm going to register him at school. I'm going to register him with soccer, and he's going to come home.
So that's the best thing to keep it, because I know when Kyron first went missing, it was about a week before they came public. And since then, they've been much more public and speaking to the media about their son as often as they
dad has. That's the thing that bothers me the most. When Adam was missing, Reve and I begged the media to cover the case because he was gone for almost 2 weeks and the story started to disappear. I would have stood in Times Square naked, taken a bullet, traded my life for my son. Most parents need the help of the media. Most parents know that the media is who helps find missing children. And for the stepmom to decide not to come out and do any interviews, very disturbing.
Well, there have been a lot of suspicions swirling around the stepmom. You've been pretty vocal about that, but she's not even a person of interest. She has not been arrested. So at this point, probably the best thing the police can do is keep the door open to the investigation, the possibility of other people possibly being involved.
Well, absolutely. You have to do a dual investigation. I mean, remember when Jessica Lunsford was missing in Florida, a lot of suspicion that the grandfather was in the house that night, might have had something to do with it. And it was a level 3 violent sex offender in a trailer 150 yards away that grabbed her. So there's always the possibility that it could have been a predator and the stepmom had nothing to do with it. But you have to continue those dual investigations because the not knowing is what kills you.
Your new season, 24th season, premieres on September 11th, which is an important day, obviously, in this country, 9/11. What's going to be on the agenda that night?
We're going to profile an American terrorist. I was the only guy in television that was allowed at Ground Zero, so it's kind of a look back for me. And this Adnan Shukrazuma is the heir apparent to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. You know, the frizzy-haired guy they waterboarded down in Guantanamo Bay. This guy was raised in the United States, lived in New York, raised in Miramar, Florida, and he is the guy who tried to plan the subway bombings. He's the #1 terrorist, but he's an American, so we're looking for that guy on September 11th and hope we get him before he creates another terrible, catastrophic event here in the United States.
Well, you've done an amazing job finding people just like that, John Walsh. Thank you for everything you've done, and good luck with the new season.
Thank you very much, Meredith.
And now let's head back to New Orleans for a check of the weather from Al.
Today's weather is brought to you by Children's Advil. Relief you can trust.
Hey, thanks so much, Meredith. We are here in the kitchen of the iconic Café Du Monde, opened in 1862. It is open 24/7, except for Christmas. The owner, Bert Benrud. Bert, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So the beignet, why is it so iconic here? You have Freddie here getting ready to put some fresh ones in here, Freddie?
Yeah, Freddie's been here a while with us. He's we love Freddie, man.
And it's basically dough fried in cottonseed oil, which I guess is a neutral flavor, and then powdered sugar. I mean, it's pretty simple, but yet it so represents this city.
That's exactly what attracted my wife's grandfather to buying the Café Du Monde back in 1942. He was running the Fernandez wine cellar, and you know the different varieties of wine. Well, here it was just coffee, beignets, and milk. He said, "This is simple. I can deal with this." And he bought the business, and the family's been developing it for the last 60 some odd years.
And you only basically sell one food, and that's the beignet with powdered sugar on it.
They're delicious too. They really are.
And not at all fattening, Meredith. Bert Benrud, thank you so much.
No, thank you for coming by. Thank you.
That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck. Look, pillows of dough floating right there. Oh.
Yeah, my thighs are expanding as I look at it. Al, thank you very much. Coming up, Anne goes back to her first job as a babysitter. She took on a family with 5 kids, and they brought along their friends. We're going to see how she fared, but first, these messages.
And we're back with more of Today Kicks Off from New Orleans. It was back in August of 2005 that Drew Brees, then a quarterback for the San Diego Chargers, watched the destruction that Hurricane Katrina brought to the city of New Orleans. He visited here, he fell in love, and he made a decision that he wanted to be the quarterback of the Saints. He probably couldn't imagine that a few short years later, the Saints would win the Super Bowl, he'd be the MVP, and he and his son Balin would steal the show. So many iconic images from the Super Bowl, but I think the image that a lot of people remember, and you know what I'm talking about, after the game when you held Balin up to the crowd. He was 1 at the time.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to the day where you can sit down with him and have a meaningful discussion as to what the moment meant to you?
I can't wait. I can't wait.
What will you say to him?
Without getting too emotional, it was such a special moment, and I'll just tell him how much that moment meant to me, having him in my arms, and just what a difference he made in my life. You know, all that we had been through, you know, in order to get to that point.
Reaching that point started in March of 2006, 7 months after Hurricane Katrina devastated the Gulf Coast. The people of New Orleans were looking to rebuild, and coming off a disappointing season and major shoulder surgery, so was Drew Brees. Take me back to that time. You've got a decision to make. You've got a contract you can sign, and New Orleans comes and they offer you a deal, but it is the worst time for the city. It would have been fine. A lot of other guys, nobody would have blamed them for turning away and saying, I don't want anything to do with that. That's a city in decline. Why you didn't think it was a hopeless situation, not to play here, but to live here.
I really felt like it was a calling. I saw it as an opportunity to be a part of something that most people don't get a chance to do in their entire lifetime, and that is to be a part of the resurgence of a city, maybe more so than that, a mindset. And that is, no matter what knocks us down, we're going to find a way to come back stronger.
Yeah, going back to the Super Bowl last year, it was one of those few times, I think, where a sporting event and a sports team rose above the status of sports team and sporting events. And you had to feel as if you were America's home team in that game, because so many people wanted the people of New Orleans to have a reason to celebrate in the midst of all the pain they had feeling. Did you feel that? Could you sense it?
We did feel it. We felt like there was a piece of everybody that could identify with what New Orleans went through and could see the fact that this went well beyond just the game of football, that this meant so much more to so many people. You know, that just makes you feel like we can accomplish anything.
And Drew lives his life according to that philosophy, believing that adversity breeds opportunity, something he writes about in his book, Coming Back Stronger. You've taken this philosophy of yours and you've put it down on paper in this book, and the title itself has a great double meaning. What was your idea in choosing it?
It's really a mantra. Every piece of adversity that I will ever face in my life, and I know there will be plenty more, that no matter what happens, I'm always going to look at it as, what is the positive out of this? I'm going to take that negative, I'm going to turn it into a positive, I'm going to find a way to come back stronger.
And Drew is hoping to do just that as he heads into the new season. Good news is you guys are world champions and you were the MVP of the Super Bowl. The bad news is you guys were world champions and you were the MVP of the Super Bowl. I mean, how do you repeat that? How do you top that?
Certainly expectations are at an all-time high. And not to take anything away from what we accomplished last year. It was very special. It will link us together forever as a team, city, organization. But there's always another challenge around the corner.
And they're going to try to repeat that or even top that starting tonight. You can watch the kickoff event starting at 7:30, and then the game between the Saints and the Vikings following that right here on NBC. We're going to have much more ahead from New Orleans and New York on a Thursday morning right after these messages.
We are back at 7:50. Bad behavior has meant big ratings for MTV's hit show Jersey Shore, but the antics of one of the most popular cast members, Snooki, landed her in court on Wednesday. NBC's Jeff Rawson has the details. Jeff, good morning to you.
Hey, Meredith, you just like saying Snooki, I can tell
Yeah.
the way you said it. Look, she was arrested back in July. She was drinking, where else, on the Jersey Shore, and then she stumbled into people. Wednesday, just before the judge sentenced her, he gave her a verbal smackdown, calling Snooki a Lindsay Lohan wannabe. On Jersey Shore, Nicole Snooki Polizzi lets it all hang out.
I love Guidos!
But in court Wednesday, she buttoned up. Armed with her designer handbag and her lawyer, Snooki was facing 90 days in jail. Police in Seaside Heights arrested Snooki in late July. While taping the show Jersey Shore, she was drunk on the beach, yelling and stumbling onto people.
I would definitely like to apologize to the Seaside cops. When I saw what happened and everyone told me what happened, very embarrassed. This is not like me. I've never been in this situation before. So I definitely would like to apologize to anybody that I hurt.
I have concerns about how much of this episode was scripted by your show. I mean, if this was scripted, only you can determine if it's worth trading your dignity for a paycheck.
It was not scripted, sir.
And Judge Damian Murray was just getting started, getting even more harsh.
You seem to be acting like a Lindsay Lohan wannabe in this matter. Going through life rude, profane, obnoxious, and self-indulgent. It's not the way you want to live your life.
Snooki stood there and took it. Her lawyer jumped to her defense, saying she's lived a good life with a love of animals and charity work.
This was a bad day. I think we all have those days from time to time, Judge.
In a plea deal with prosecutors, Snooki slipped away without jail time. She pled guilty to a local ordinance called interfering with the enjoyment of the quiet use of the beach by others. Her punishment, a $500 fine and 2 days of community service, with 1 day already served at a nearby zoo.
It's the Jersey Shore.
Snooki, forced to give back to the town that made her famous. As part of that plea deal, the other charges were dropped. By the way, Meredith, late last night, Lindsay Lohan's mother, Dina, weighed in, telling us she's disappointed in what the judge said about her daughter.
All right, Jeff Rawson, thank you very much. Coming up, Anne's turn as a babysitter after your local news. 8 o'clock now on this Thursday morning, September 9th, 2010, and fittingly, the sun is shining on New Orleans this morning. Big day in the Big Easy as the Super Bowl champs, the New Orleans Saints, get the honor of kicking off the NFL season tonight. And my buddies Matt Lauer and Al Roker are there. And Matt, it looks like it is so much fun already.
Got a little noisy here, Meredith. I missed that last line, but yeah, we are here in New Orleans in Jackson Square. Beautiful morning. You know, a lot of people think football men. Men are the only ones who care about football. Did you know 41 million American women watched the Super Bowl last year? And when you go to a football game, about half the people in the stands are women. They're also taking on powerful positions within the NFL, and coming up, we're going to meet a 33-year-old woman who's one of the driving forces behind the New Orleans Saints, and she is blazing a path for women in the National Football League.
And we also got a chance to get really up close and personal with another New Orleans icon, the St. Charles Street Line. I got to learn how to drive one of these babies. I had a time of my life. I don't know how much fun Matt had, because he was one of the passengers. But we're going to show you,
to see you.
My dream job coming up a little bit later.
Yeah, and I notice you're showing your support for women by surrounding yourself by cheerleaders. I think that's very special.
That's all part
what we
of
do.
the team.
We just keep giving and giving.
Exactly. All right, guys, we look forward to it. Also from here, you know, Ann Curry has traveled all around the world to some of the most dangerous places there are. But can she handle 5 kids and their friends? She tried her hand at a job she used to do as a teenager, babysitting. We're going to see how she did. It's all for our First Jobs series. But first, she has to check on the top story, so we know she survived it. Hey, Ann.
All right, Meredith, thank you so much, and good morning once again, everybody. In the news, what's left of Tropical Storm Hermine is now heading across the plains today after bringing flash floods to Texas. The heavy rain on Wednesday in central Texas forced more than 100 high water rescues. 2 women who had been trapped in their cars were not reached in time, and they died. The storm also spawned several tornadoes, one of which touched down near Dallas, damaging several buildings. The devastating wildfire in the foothills near Boulder, Colorado is now one of the worst in the state's history. More than 135 homes have been destroyed, and 4 people who refused to leave their homes are now found to have been missing. The fire is only 10% contained. The imam behind a proposed Islamic community center in Moss near Ground Zero in New York City is now warning of a possible violent backlash from Muslim extremists if the site is changed. Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf told CNN last night that the issue has become so politicized that the headlines in the Muslim world will be that Islam is under attack. Fewer people are dying on the nation's roads. The government says that traffic deaths fell last year to just under 34,000. That's the lowest since 1950. Safety experts credit greater use of seatbelts, safer cars, and tough enforcement of drunk driving laws. It is now 3 minutes past the hour. So I'll go back to Al in New Orleans. Hey, Al.
Hey, thanks a lot. And I want to introduce you to a real legend here in New Orleans, Mr. Jerry Romig, for 42 years, the voice of the Saints here in New Orleans. Jerry, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, you have seen the ups and downs, the highs, the lows. Tell me what it was like back on September 25th, 2006, when the Saints came back to play.
Oh, God. We beat Atlanta. Excuse me. It was wonderful. But anyhow, let me get over that foolishness. It was great. It was just to be there and to come back from Katrina.
Yeah.
Just wonderful.
And now here you are, world champions, defending your title, starting tonight.
And I'm embarrassed.
Well, it's a lot of emotion. How are you going to control this emotion when you take the mic tonight?
I'll do that. I have something for you.
Uh-huh.
This is a relic, really, of the Super Bowl. What we've done, the committee that's preparing for the Super Bowl, the next Super Bowl in New Orleans in 3 years, we've gathered together all kinds of scavenger hunts from the Super Bowl in Miami. Banners, any tablecloths, whatever, and we're turning it into things like
aprons.
And this
Very
one,
nice.
this one is
I will
for
wear
you.
this proudly.
Yes,
thank
please.
you. Very nice. Jerry Romig, the announcer of the New Orleans Saints for 42 years. Oh, you'll tie that on me? Thank you very much. Well, Jerry ties that on. In fact, Jerry and I tied one on last night. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Very cool. You couldn't resist that. All right, we've got sunshine heading our way today. A few clouds mixing in. It's a cool start. We're in the low 60s in the city, 50s in the suburbs. And you can see on the satellite radar perspective, not much nearby to worry about. There will be some patchy clouds. Best chance for that tending to be north and west of the city today. Highs in the low 70s. It stays breezy. Tomorrow, again, low 70s with sunshine. A little warmer Saturday, 77. That's the best part of the weekend, though, because the clouds and rain moves in on Sunday, on and off in nature, 74. A little warmer Monday before we cool it down again, middle of next week.
And that's your latest weather. Meredith?
Al, thank you very much. Coming up next, adventures in babysitting, Ann Curry style, when she goes back to try her old job right after this. Back now at 8:09 with more of our special series, Today's First Jobs. On Tuesday, Matt went back to his paper route. Wednesday, I took you back to the dance studio where I tap. And today, it's Ann's turn.
That's right, Meredith. I was 13 years old when I got my first paying job. I was taking care of children. And while since then I've had 2 kids of my own, I haven't been a babysitter for quite a while. So I decided to see if I still have what it takes. Hi, Mrs. Burke. Hi, I'm Ann. My first job was as a babysitter. How many kids do you have?
We have 5 altogether.
5?
Yes.
5. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. It was me, Jean, Alan, Gordon, and Lola. And I babysat them since before I can remember. I have a lot of experience. You shouldn't worry. I know what I'm doing. Hi, you guys. Oh, I'm really used to lots of kids. It's like the best.
They might have a couple friends.
Oh, a couple friends stop
Yeah.
by? The greatest number of children I've ever watched at one time is 4. And that is a handful, but doable. Are your friends coming over, Aiden?
Not sure. We just know that they were hot and they wanted to
5?
go for a
5? Well, I feel pretty confident about babysitting. I think that it's a good fallback position for me. Okay, and they're allowed to jump like that, aren't they? Yeah, just be careful. Yeah. You can pretty much throw anything at me. So there are going to be 10 children here?
Yes. Right.
I can handle anything. 10 children, no problem. That was close. Oh, do you guys like to climb out a lot? Oh. Bring it on. All right, see you guys later. Go have some fun together. Bye. Yeah, see how it went straight like that? That's it. Well, where are they going? I like to give the house back to the parents in the same state that I received it. Oh. Hey, you guys, what are you doing? Hey, you're not supposed to put toilet paper every place in the house. Come on, there we go. There we go. That's good, Aiden. Look, how about that? Good job. Oh. I'm gonna wrap you up. There we go. Oh, somebody's at the door. Hi. 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 How are you? Nothing ever broke. Oh, no. I don't remember any lamps or dishes breaking. I hope it wasn't a favorite plate. If there are a lot of kids, be careful because they can gang up on you.
Hey, wait a minute, I don't want to go swimming.
Kids are smart. They know how to push your buttons.
No, what are paper balls? Hey, those hurt. Don't throw that at anybody but me, okay?
You know, they were exhausted. Believe me, I exhaust them. They don't exhaust me.
That's not nice.
Candy, where are all the candies? Want a brownie? Come on, let's make some brownies. Okay, I got chocolate chips here. I think that in terms of tricks, maybe they need a little sugar.
Everybody who wants brownies, go to the kitchen.
When in doubt, tempt them with sugar. Not too much, but just a little bit of sugar. Everybody's gonna get candy. That makes everybody happy.
We ate a chunk of it.
I feel a conspiracy. Did someone actually say to you, throw toilet paper and make it really hard for me?
We threw paper balls at her and squirted her with the water gun.
Who is that person? Who is that person? Who did that? Why I order? It's not a good idea if there's more than one child to let one disappear. You always sort of need to keep an eye on everybody. Where do the boys go? Are they in the rooms? Come on, let's go check it out. I've never lost a child. But wait a minute, I'm missing somebody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who's missing? Quincy's missing. Quincy! Oh boy, I think I lost a kid. Lila, Kristen, where are ya? Where's Kaylin? Have we hidden Lila? Did somebody hide her? You guys scared me. Look at you, you scared me. Oh, bye, sweet pie. You're great, you're great, 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 great. The thing about the first job is that for the first time, you actually realized there was something that you could do that was of value to someone else. I would say that in general, kids kind of like me.
You're not a good babysitter.
I'm not. Why not? What did I do? What did I do? What did I mess up?
You want to have chocolate chip?
When I'm cooking, they like to eat my food. You want some? You want some? My number one goal is to keep them safe. I think you shouldn't eat it off the knife. I think you should use a knife to cut it because, you know, it's a knife and you don't want to do that. Whenever you choke, put both hands up like that. Good. And number two, I want to make sure they're having fun. Come on, show me. Good job. Turn on the TV. That's a good trick, but just for a little bit. And make sure nothing horrible or inappropriate is on television.
This is inappropriate. See? These are the dance moves.
That is inappropriate. I could get awards for babysitting. What's going on? You feeling okay? Okay, come on. You guys are doing a great job. Reading books before bedtime is the magic elixir. Read a book, right, and then boom, they're asleep. I switch the trains from track to... There he is. Clippity clop. Clip clop, clip clop. A clever prince he leapt from his horse. Sweet pie, we're turning off the light, honey. Hi, 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 hi. You have wonderful children. Babysitting taught me to love. Love. And I think that that's the solution for everything. I think that's my lesson. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, and we have many thanks for Mr. and Mrs. Burke for letting us babysit their lovely children and pretty much destroy their home.
So you babysat from the age of 13 to 18. Then what happened? Why did you stop?
I stopped because I was caught on the couch necking with my boyfriend by the people who... Yes. No. In my own defense, I was told by the family that I could bring a friend over. The kids didn't see a thing, and I didn't expect. And
So you brought a boyfriend.
I was so embarrassed.
Yeah,
That was it. I never went back. So
The R-rated there.
I am shocked.
What was that about inappropriate?
Exactly. Oh my God.
So there you go. That's the
So what are you
honest
doing
truth.
this Friday night around 8 o'clock? And how much do you
Necking with
charge?
my husband, but okay.
No, I need a babysitter.
That was great. That was great. Natalie, later on, your life is going to go to the dogs. You're going to see your first job, right? At a
That's
pet
right.
store.
I work at a pet store.
And tomorrow it's Al's turn. He's going to return to, there's Nat. Tomorrow Al's going to return to his roots, slicing and pricing at a grocery store. Actually, a little bit more like a song and dance man that is so typical Al.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Up next, guys, step aside why women are getting into the game of football in the stands and the front office right after this.
Today Kicks Off is brought to you by Verizon, official wireless service provider of the NFL.
Welcome back to New Orleans for the start of the football season and the start of what some are calling a new era for women in pro football. Janet Shanley is here with more on that. Janet, good morning.
Matt, good morning. You know, scan any football stadium at any NFL game and you're going to see the rising presence of the female fan, now almost 50% of the NFL's fan base. But women are also taking a greater role in NFL operations. Nowhere is that more on display than right here in the city of New Orleans. When you think of women in the NFL, this may be what comes to mind. But in New Orleans, this young woman is the face of the franchise.
Okay. So he can sit here.
On the sidelines, Rita Benson LeBlanc could easily be mistaken for a cheerleader.
Here we go.
But the 33-year-old is part owner and executive vice president of the New Orleans Saints.
So the Saints football is to me, it's the American dream. It's what do you accomplish together with the people that you really care about and that you love playing with. And that's worth watching.
With a BlackBerry in hand and a piece of jewelry from last season's Super Bowl many men would covet, this girl next door is comfortable in her own shoes and not angling to join the boys club. The granddaughter of Saints principal owner Tom Benson, she's next in line to take over the team. And she'll do just about anything to promote it.
See you later.
Rappelling down a 26-story building for a Special Olympics charity event last month. If you're talking women in the NFL, you've got to check out the stands. Women are reshaping the face of football. 6 million attended games last year, and the league's fastest growing business, women's apparel.
It used to be just big bulky stuff, and women are curvier, so we need something more geared towards us.
In New Orleans, the NFL has opened the first of its kind women's boutique. From bikinis to bling, the concept could expand to other cities.
Women definitely are the gatekeepers in most households. So when you look at it from a business perspective, it just makes sense to engage these women, but at the same time, we're better serving them as fans.
Who said football isn't pretty? As the league embraces fashion and the changing face of an American pastime.
And this is what the merchandise looks like today. It's a little more tailored, a little bit of bling. And Matt, if you're watching from the pool.
Come on. How much more extreme can we get here?
They didn't have the Speedo, I'm sorry.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Janet Shamlian, thank you very much. Rita Benson-LeBlanc is the young lady we just met in Janet's piece. She is the part owner and executive vice president of the Saints. Nice to see you, Rita.
It's great to be here. Thank you for being here.
We're thrilled to be here. Let me read you some descriptions I've read about you, okay? Batten down the hatches. One of the most powerful women in professional sports and the youngest, sassiest, and sexiest owner of an NFL franchise. How do you plead?
I guess guilty. I learned from my grandfather, so he's an older version, but quite a New Orleanian, zest for life. We dance, we laugh, we cry through everything we lived through here, but especially winning the Super Bowl, there was nothing that would have brought my family greater pleasure than to bring that Super Bowl victory back to the city of New Orleans.
You get a lot of attention for a lot of reasons. Is it a good thing for women and football?
I think so. I think any attention is channeled in a positive way. So obviously we've used this incredible kickoff to showcase New Orleans, economic development, everything that's happening in Louisiana and the greater Gulf South region. Obviously we've had a few issues with the storm and the oil spill, but we have strong, resilient people that work together as a team just like the football.
You learned this business from the ground up. You took on a lot of different roles in this family organization and franchise. If you were talking to a group of young ladies today, would you say pro football offers good career opportunities for them?
I would say that...
Or is it tough?
It's a lifestyle. It is not a 9-to-5 job. So anyone who's involved in sports, obviously I'm biased, the NFL is the greatest sport in America and the world, but it takes an incredible commitment. So you have to be self-aware, and I think that's important for any role that you choose, but know that it is a massive commitment.
Well, Rita Benson-LeBlanc, who's going to win tonight?
We are.
No doubt about it. It's nice to have you. Thanks for your hospitality. We appreciate it. We're going to have much more ahead from the Big Easy in New York City on a Thursday morning, right after these messages and your local news. Okay. 8:30 now on a Thursday morning. It's the 9th day of September, 2010. With music from the streets of New Orleans, the Big Easy, on this day that the Saints set out to defend their Super Bowl championship. And to say this team and this city is excited would be a major understatement. Here in New Orleans, I'm Matt Lauer, along with Al Roker, on a hot, humid morning here in the Crescent City. Meredith and Ann are back up in New York, I think, along with Natalie as well. They're outside, or Meredith and Ann, and it's a little cooler up there, ladies, isn't it?
It's absolutely beautiful here. Speaking of cool, I think you and Al did something cool while you're in New Orleans.
We got to do, actually, I didn't get to do it. Well, Al got to live what is really a lifelong dream. He had always wanted to drive a streetcar, and he got to do it yesterday.
I got to one of the historic streetcars here in New Orleans. So exciting. Had a great time. We're going to show that to you a little bit. And another part of New Orleans that everybody talks about that really is part of the fabric here, jazz. We're going to take you to a neighborhood in New Orleans where they say jazz was born. It's also the basis for a new HBO series. We're going to take you to Treme and tell you about how music is the lifeblood of this community.
Meredith and Ann?
All right, thanks so much, you guys. Hey, by the way, guys, we've got a very special guest here. We've got Josh Brolin. He's one of the stars, of course, of this movie called Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps. Josh, it's
great to have you here. Josh, you were, of course, you talked to Matt back in May in Cannes when the movie opened, first opened, and you know when I mentioned to everyone here that you were going to be here, people squealed.
People what?
They squealed. They were excited.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, I know.
That's
And you play a.
Was I with my wife?
You were not.
No.
You play a snake in this movie. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I guess I do play kind of a snake. I mean, it's right before, what happened in September of 2008 and the big implosion of the economy and all that. And I represent everything bad that's happened.
And you're working with Oliver Stone again? You were in W with him, lead in that? Is that a wonderful thing?
It is, actually. Yeah. Oliver has this reputation that's so kind of chaotic, and I don't experience that at all. I think he's an amazing guy. We had a great time during W. Really proud of that movie. And I think this movie's going to be great. Eli Wallach's in this movie.
Oh,
He's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
A hero.
Listen, we want to ask you about Michael Douglas because you heard when you heard the news. What was your reaction? And
well,
what
I've
do you
known
want to say
Michael
about
since
it?
I was a kid, so there's a long history there. And my mother knew him, and my mother's not around, who went through that. It's the same thing also, and she survived it. So I talked to him. I saw him yesterday. He looks great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so he's really putting himself out. He's a great character. If anybody's going to survive it,
He's a fighter, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Great pleasure.
Thank you
nice to see you. Good luck with the movie.
Wall Street, money never sleeps.
Thank you.
Let's head back to Matt now.
All right, thanks very much. Not only is tonight the start of the season for the Saints and the Vikings, also the start for Football Night in America here on NBC. Tony Dungy and Rodney Harrison are two of the hosts. Guys, good morning. Nice to see you both.
Good morning.
Thanks for waking up early. This was the championship game in the NFC last year, the Saints and the Vikings. So starting the season, do we have the two best teams in that conference playing tonight?
Not necessarily. It remains to be seen. Everybody can jump on the Saints bandwagon. They've got a great team, but it's tough to repeat.
In fact, Rodney, you've been in this position where you come back as the Super Bowl defending champs. What's going through the players' heads tonight as they get ready for this game?
Well, I don't think for the Saints it's a sense of complacency. I think this team is very excited to get back to norm. I've been walking the streets of New Orleans, and they're very excited, all the fans. I live in Atlanta, but I'm from Chicago, and everybody across the country, they're very excited about the Saints and the start of the NFL season.
Tony, between now and kickoff, Brett Favre can retire and come back 2 or 3 more times, probably. How big a storyline is he in the NFL this year?
Brett Favre, I think, is the key to the Vikings season. They did a lot to talk him into coming back. They feel like he's the key to their success, and Minnesota's one of the favorites. They've got to deal with Green Bay in their division, but Favre has to play well for them to get where they want to be, and that's the Super Bowl.
And Rodney, you've got a lot of, really premier matchups coming up this season on Football Night.
You do, and I'm very excited about the Manning matchup. You look at the two brothers, they both won a Super Bowl. Now it's time to see which Manning brother is the best. Is it Peyton or is it Eli?
All right, guys, good luck. New season for you as well. Gets underway tonight, 7:30 with the kickoff special right here on NBC. Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison, thanks, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Roker, how about a check of the weather?
All right, let's show you what's happening as far as your weekend is concerned. And for tomorrow, on Saturday, we're looking at sunshine up and down the eastern seaboard, showers, Ohio River Valley down to the Gulf Coast. So western two-thirds of the country going to be fabulous. Then Sunday, we're looking at lots of showers in the northeast, all up and down the eastern seaboard. We got sunny and hot conditions from Texas all the way into the southwest, showers along the Gulf Coast, some more showers move into the Pacific Northwest. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening. Don't forget, you can check your weather any time of the day or night. Go to the Weather Channel on cable or weather.com online. Meredith?
All right, Al. Coming up next, we're going to find out what it was like when you learned how to drive a New Orleans streetcar with Matt along for the ride. But first, this is Today on NBC.
One of the real iconic images of New Orleans, of course, the streetcar. And as the son of a bus driver, I have always wanted to drive one of these babies.
You're not kidding. This has been a lifelong dream.
Absolutely.
On this show, we like to make dreams come true. So take a look at what happened when my buddy Al jumped behind the wheel.
The Big Easy inspires supersized passions. From its hot sounds to its exotic tastes. It's no place for holding back.
Hey,
In a streetcar named Desire, Tennessee Williams introduced America to the heart-pounding potential of New Orleans. Today, the streetcars that served as Williams' muse still carry 5 million city passengers a year. It is the oldest continuous streetcar service in the world.
They're iconic to the city. As a matter of fact, if you look at any item in this city that's very recognizable, I guarantee you the streetcars on the top 3.
The St. Charles Line is on the National Register of Historic Places, committed to preserving the car's essential role in the history of the city. They cannot be replaced. Instead, they are maintained with painstaking care at the Carrollton Transit Station. And as the streetcars course their way through New Orleans, the desire to drive one has always run through my friend Al Roker.
This is going to be a dream come true.
Training instructor Clarence Glover tried to pass on some of his 29 years of experience in just a couple of minutes.
This is your controller. Your controller has 8 points. The most important part of the whole car is braking. Push it to your right, you're going to take air.
And that's stopping.
That's going to stop it. It seems complicated, but it's really not. It's just as easy as taking candy from a baby.
If the baby was a giant car that's carrying 80 people.
Well short of the 8-week instruction most conductors get, we got underway.
If he's driving, I need airbags or seatbelts, one of the two.
We're going to stop at the corner, all right?
Okay.
And it says, problems, concerns, or questions, call. My concern is that my driver's had 4 minutes of training.
Release all of it, all of it.
Oh, oh, God, that's okay, you're learning. Al was a quick study at the controls.
I love you, streetcar!
And so we boldly took on some unsuspecting passengers.
I'm Matt, I'll be your host today. This is Clarence, he's your lifesaver. Your driver is Al. How are you? Nice to see you. All right, Al, here we go. Let's run some red lights. Watch this stop. Feel the stop. Oh, smooth as a what? Baby's behind. Yes. Yes.
With his soft touch on the brakes, Al was a solid hit with the ridership. But my run as a backseat driver finally jumped the tracks.
You know, something sounds like there's something caught maybe by the compressor or something. Can you check that out, man?
Sounds good. Sounds
I
fine.
think you ought to check, because I think it sounds a little
By the
weird.
what?
By the compressor in the middle of the car.
Hey! Al! Don't This wasn't nice.
Yeah, I think Brando, I think you.
Yeah. Stella!
We got a lot more coming up from New Orleans, but first, this is Today on NBC.
This morning on Today's Pets, Bodie makes it home. Our resident animal advocate, Jill Rappaport, is here with the story of the bond between a young man and his dog, even through the worst tragedy. Good morning to you, Jill.
Oh, hi, Meredith. This is really a bittersweet story because John Everhart was on his way home after spending a wonderful summer as a camp counselor. Sadly, he never made it, but against all odds, his beloved dog did.
He was always laughing and a very outgoing kid.
John Chauncey Everhart was known for his outgoing personality, his infectious sense of humor, and as his cousin put it, he was cool without trying. He was an honors student at University of Virginia, working towards a double major in economics and history.
He liked to do well in the classroom, he liked to do well whatever he did.
John loved fishing. He was a movie buff and a music fanatic. Bob Dylan was a favorite.
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me.
But most of all, John loved Bodie.
He was just so enamored with this dog. They were really companions for life.
What did Bodie do for your son?
Got him up in the morning. He'd walk Bodie early in the morning at, around the campus. And he'd say, oh, Bodie's a chick magnet.
John adopted Bodie a year ago from Almost Home Pet Adoption Center in Virginia, and there was no mistaking their irreplaceable bond.
They were very close. The dog slept on the bed with John.
But tragically, on August 15th, they became separated forever. John was on his way home to Bethesda, Maryland from Vermont, where he was working as a senior counselor at Camp Wachusett. He was traveling with a camp friend, and of course his best friend Bodie. But on a curve, John lost control of his car and was killed instantly.
Just that abrupt, that ending, never to move forward, that's been very difficult. And that's when I, start crying.
Miraculously, 18-year-old Elliot Day, John's passenger, survived the crash. But Bodie had disappeared.
Everybody was looking for Bodie. I gave my word that we would do everything in our power to try to find the dog.
Now, this is where the accident occurred on that rainy afternoon in August on Route 80 in Paterson, New Jersey. An eyewitness saw Bodie literally ejected from the automobile. He darted across this busy highway during rush hour, and miraculously, he was found 5 days later in the woods with only a slight abrasion above his right eye.
It's a miracle dog. The dog is lucky to be alive.
And lucky to be back home with John's family in Maryland.
He went straight down the hall and plopped on the floor in John's room.
The bittersweet return of John's beloved dog is only intensified by this special watercolor of Bodie that Jay had planned to give to his son for his 21st birthday. It was finished the day John was killed. John would have loved it.
Oh, yeah, he would have liked it.
And is he giving you any comfort on some sort of level?
Gets me out of bed in the morning. That's always a good thing.
Yeah. Well, look at you.
It was a little light, sort of at the end of a very dark tunnel. Incredibly sad, but yet here's Bodie.
Something worked out in this tragedy, gives us a bit of solace, but it's very bittersweet because it's impossible to be with Bodie and not think about John.
Now, John was an only child, and he would have turned 21 next month, Meredith.
It's a beautiful story. Thank you so much, Jill. We have much more from New York and New Orleans, but first, this is Today on NBC.
Welcome back to New Orleans. We have spent so much time here in the past couple of weeks. Soon we're going to have to pay local taxes. but Al got to know one very special place.
That's right, Matt. There is a place just a few minutes from here that a lot of people say is the heart of New Orleans. It's a neighborhood called Treme, and they say that jazz is deeply rooted and got its start right in this neighborhood. Beyond the bustle of Bourbon Street, nestled among these quiet roads, lies a small neighborhood that embodies the spirit of New Orleans.
This is Treme. This is Treme.
Treme, a community both rich in history and tradition, is one of the oldest African-American neighborhoods in the country.
So many of the touchstones of New Orleans history are here.
Settled by free people of color in the 18th century, Treme became a haven for artists and musicians.
The roots of music in New Orleans go back to Congo Square, which is in Treme, and that's where Africans on Sundays would play traditional music, would dance traditional dances.
Some say Treme is where jazz was born. People here take pride in that history, and on any given night, that brass band tradition is in full swing. It's standing room only at the Candlelight Lounge, and the music is infectious.
The thing about the music is kind of like being in church and in a concert all at the same time. The music just moves your soul. When the Saints won Super Bowl, oh yes, the Saints won that Super Bowl.
Music is the lifeblood of this community. Trombonist Glenn David Andrews grew up in Treme. He comes from a family of musicians, and like most kids here, he dreamed of being one himself.
Jazz was born on these very streets.
Residents of Treme regularly take to the streets in celebration as part of a musical tradition known as second lining.
Here, the dance and the music go hand in hand.
My man.
This colorful neighborhood is now the backdrop for an HBO show called Treme. Longtime resident and trumpeter Kermit Ruffins is part of the cast.
It's really been delightful when it boils down to people finally realizing how sweet and great this culture is.
Along with great music, Treme is known for its great food. Several family-run restaurants serve up the best grub in New Orleans, Creole style.
Today we have pot roast, fried chicken, gumbo, white beans, rice, barbecue chicken.
This is soul food, the best that I've ever tasted.
Lil Dizzy's is a corner restaurant that's been serving up comfort food for decades.
Who's the first timer here? Who's the first timer here?
Locals flock here for breakfast, lunch, and to catch up with other folks in this tightly knit community.
It's time for us to learn something new today.
A community now reaching out to the next generation, teaching kids to play the music that's been pouring from these streets for countless years.
There really is a sense of passing on the tradition,
helping to ensure the music never stops. And we want to let you know the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, along with the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, they're behind those music classes. Each week they teach young kids all about the history of jazz and the importance of traditional New Orleans music.
What do you say, Mr. Roker? We do a little flyby on the way to the airport.
I think we're going to send Jim Bell, our executive producer, to establish a beachhead at Lil Dizzy's. He's going to get the table for us.
That's right. All right, when we come back, speaking of food, we're going to do a little tailgating, Big Easy style. Meredith and Natalie?
All right, guys, in here in New York.